Hi class, in lesson 9.4 we will be representing situations in multiple ways. Learning targets for today, we will be representing two quantities that change in words, symbols, tables, and graphs, and solving one-step equations. Let's take a look at problem 1 on page 636. The problem situation tells us that a site on the internet sells closeout items and charges a flat fee of $2.95 for shipping. So to get started today, what I would like you to do is answer questions 1 through 4 on page 636. Number 1 says, how much would the total order cost if an item cost $26.45 and $16.95? For number 2, explain how you calculated your answers. Number 3, I'm going to give you the variables. X is going to be the cost of the item, and Y is going to be the total cost, so that we all have the same variables and we can all write the same equation then for number 4. Write an equation that models the relationship between these variables. If we take a look at letter A, the total order would cost $29.40. For letter B, the total order would cost $19.90. Number 2, you would take the shipping cost of $2.95 and add that to the cost of each item. That's how you would calculate your answers. I did tell you already that X was going to represent the cost and Y was going to represent the total cost. So the equation then that we should come up with is X plus 2.95 is equal to Y. Let's take a look at number 5. Now we want to use that equation. Remember, X plus 2.95 is equal to Y. We want to use that equation to calculate the total cost of an order given the item cost. So go ahead and do letter A, B, and C for number 5. For each of the letters A through C in number 5, the item cost that is given represents X as the variable. So all we have to do is substitute that number in for X, and we will end up being able to figure out what the total cost would be. For letter A, if X is equal to 100, then the total cost would be $102.95. For letter B, if X is equal to $45.25, the total cost would be $48.20. And finally, for letter C, if X is equal to $67.13, the total cost would be $70.08. If we take a look at number 6 at the top of page 637, now we want to use that same equation, X plus 2.95 is equal to Y. We want to use that equation to calculate the cost of an item if we are given the total cost. Then it says again, make sure that you check to see if the value of your solution maintains balance in the original equation. So go ahead and do letters A, B, and C for number 6. If we take a look at letters A through C for number 6, the numbers that we see are going to be substituted in for the value of Y this time. So if we take $125 and plug it in for Y, we can see that the cost would be $122.05. Again, we are isolating the variable, and we are making sure that we use the inverse operation in order to figure out what the value of the variable is going to be. And you can see over on the right then, as far as checking your solution, we see that it maintains balance in the original equation. For letter B, Y is going to be equal to $37.45. The cost would be $34.50. You can see that the equation maintains balance as well once we check our work. And finally, for letter C, Y is equal to $7.67. The cost would be $4.72. And again, if we check our work, we can see then that balance is maintained in the original equation. If we take a look at the top of page 638, They want you to complete the table with your answers from question 1 through question 6. So make sure you go back and take a look at your answers carefully and get the table completed for number 7. Here is what your table should look like for number 7 if you looked back at questions 1 through question 6. So take a second to make sure that all of the numbers in the table that you have are correct. If we take a look at number 8 then, it asks us to use the table that we just completed in order to complete the graph of the total cost versus the cost of an item. So go ahead and fill out the graph for number 8. And here is what your graph should look like for number 8 once you take all the information from the table and plot the points on the graph. Let's take a look at number 9 at the top of page 639. It says that your graph represents the cost of each item and the total cost with shipping from your table of values. What pattern do you notice? You should be able to see from the graph that as the cost of an item is increasing, then the total cost is also going to increase. And if we take a look then underneath number 9, again, would it make sense to connect the points on this graph? In this situation, the cost of an item can be a fractional value, so it would make sense to connect the points to show other ordered pairs that do make the equation true. If we take a look at problem 2 on page 639, this is going to be your homework for tonight. Very similar to what we worked through in problem number 1. You're going to be given a problem situation, and you're going to have to end up writing an equation in order to get an understanding of the problem situation. I'm going to give you the variables again. If you take a look at number 3, we want H to represent the hours worked, and we want E to represent the amount earned. After you are done writing the equation, you're going to use your equation to calculate the earnings given her hours worked. And for number 6, you're going to use your equation to calculate the number of hours she worked given her total pay. Very similar setup. Once you are done doing that, you're going to have to fill out a table and then fill out a graph. So that is going to finish up lesson 9.4 on representing situations in multiple ways. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.